Collecting military surplus rifles. How not to get burned. The reason I'm making this video is I made one about giving advice from somebody my age. It's been doing this for a long time. I'm about 60 years old and I've been collecting mil surplus guns since I was 16, say the mid-70s. So I've seen a lot of changes. I remember some of the stuff left over from the old days of the 50s and 60s and kind of the new era in '86 when they changed a lot of the laws. And as the laws have changed and now they're restricting internationally weapon sales, even of antique, obsolete bolt-action rifles. This is kind of a universal international law or treaty where they don't want that. So henceforth, all the Mosin Nagants, which they made 37 million of them, okay, stop coming into the country. They're trickling in a little here and there, but not like it was. And there's tons of them out there. So when we start talking about nowadays, present days, 2020, collecting mil surplus, I kind of got out of really collecting mil surplus from the time period of like 1900 to the 1950s, which would cover World War I and World War II. A lot of different examples out there. They're popular, and I found that on YouTube, guns from this era are the most popular mil surplus guns collected. You know, I collect older stuff, I have older stuff, but the two world wars in that era have a lot of interest, a lot of people out there, a lot of activity. Henceforth, the price has gone up. So, question is, we'll take this Japanese Type 99, okay? I looked up in a book, a guidebook, and I'll go over that in another video, price guidebooks. This gun, okay, the early style, the way it is, it's got an excellent condition, which it is a good value of $700. And they have excellent plus or mint 100% value at $900, which to me is insane. Okay, back in the 70s, I used to pay $10 a piece for these guns. Now, granted, if you read down in the fine print, supposedly listed at $700 as the mum ground, deduct 50%. Now that makes it a $350 gun. That's more like what I believe is the full retail price. And the problem I see with people is making the mistake, not reading that fine print or knowing grading and other things. You know, just because it's a Japanese Type 99 and it's in decent shape and it's an earlier model does not make it automatically worth $700. See, and a lot of people pricing this on different auctions or dealers are doing that, and you have to know if the gun is actually worth it or not. That's the point I'm trying to make here. So basically, when I looked at other videos, there's a guy out there, Mike B, he does a lot of great videos on like 5 common mistakes a beginner makes and everything else. And he gives you some good pointers in a very general way. That's a good start. He does get a lot of views, so people are looking at his videos. Okay, he gets more than that, way more than I do. So what I'm trying to make a point of is, if you're interested, depends on how deep you want to go in to collecting mil surplus, or maybe just some advice I can give you can help you, okay? So I decided to make videos discussing all different things like price guides, you know, doing your research, knowing the difference, sorting out the BS and the stories. Because there's a lot of information and how people nowadays, see, this is why it's difficult for me, is what I used to do is I had to read books. I had a reference library. I read magazine articles. There was no internet. You read publications, Shotgun News, and that's how you kept up with all the surplus stuff that was recently coming into the country and the prices and the different companies. Then you do some research on the companies, okay? Some companies are pretty good to deal with, some of them were not, and that goes all the way back, okay? Some people were giving you a raw deal. They would not put an accurate description or omit certain things, okay? And then what it comes down to is what's the value of this stuff, okay? If you're a casual kind of guy that just blindly goes and I seen something, hey, it looks nice, I bought it, don't really know what it is, or kind of know what it is but not too sure, it might have been sporterized, you could be making a bad purchase. And there are companies, depending who you deal with. There are companies that really you shouldn't deal with. It depends. And I'll go over that in another thing. And there's certain dealers and people locally that I found out, there's one or two that no matter what they have or how it looks, I just flat out refuse to do business with them. So what you'd have to do is you have to educate yourself on the area or the items you wish to collect, and you have to work at it. You have to go and sort through a lot of stuff, figure out what you're weeding out, the BS, what's fictitious or a built-up story. And then another thing too, you have to kind of ask yourself, what do I want to do? Do I want to just be a casual guy? Like I buy one or two guns, say like this Swedish Mauser. You can go get ammunition in the store for this. Usually these things are all in halfway decent shape. And if you get it at the right price to where you didn't overpay or whatever, they're a fun gun to shoot. You can go shoot them. You don't have to reload the ammunition. You can get store-bought ammunition. It'll work just fine. At this point, unless the surplus ammunition was manufactured in the 70s or 80s, I would not use surplus ammo. Like I see people with these Carcanos, with the original Carcano ammo was made maybe in the 50s. Okay, after a certain time, that stuff breaks down and it ain't ideal. And some guns, the ammunition's expensive. More modern ammunition that's been, say, recently manufactured, that'll work fine. And generally you're going to pay a lot of money. So that's another thing we'll get into is reloading or, ammunition use and things like that. So you could either be the casual collector, you could be the guy that has some knowledge, experience, been doing this for a while and you're building your knowledge base and, you just like to buy an old military gun up front, like through a place like this Royal Tiger brought a bunch in. This is where you just go online, you got your carry-on relic license, you can order the stuff and get it. Okay, simple. Then you can still collect surplus firearms, but you have to go and kind of, as they used to say, beat the bush or dig the stuff out of the woodwork. That's where you got to go to auctions or you go to online auctions, and that's where you got to be savvy. Okay, that's where you got to build up your knowledge, and kind of like playing poker, you got to be able to read the people, read how the auction house works. Okay, and that's through experience. Okay, if they're doing shady stuff, if they're running bids up, like, there was one auction, they had a crappy trapdoor rifle. It had big initials carved in it. And I was bidding online, and there's like a live auction, and I bid it up to a certain point, and that's where I figured with all the fees and shipping, that's where I wanted to go with it. And then, again, floor, outbid me, okay. 6 or 7 months later, I'm going through this auction catalog again, and lo and behold, like 2 auctions later, what's in there? The same gun with the same initials carved on it, And then I just put a sealed bid in there for like $100 less. And of course I never got it, but you see, you gotta pay attention. You gotta really sniff things out sometimes. So what I'm gonna do is make videos covering different pointers, like reference books. Um, People have asked me to give my opinion, like on the gun broker auction, which probably, it is a good venue, but you have to be careful. There are things to watch for and watch out, okay, so you don't get burned. I think the only company really bringing in a large quantity of stuff and how long this is gonna last, but this year is that Royal Tiger Imports. I'm gonna do a video on some stuff I'm getting there. I'm gonna go over like pointers, like a lot of things people see, like say an Enfield, and they have a price on it. Well, an Enfield or even a KAR 98, okay, with all the markings, complete, original, if it's in fair to relic condition as compared to say very good to excellent condition, okay, which something like this is very good plus. You know, there's some staining on the finish, wood's in good shape, you know, it's borderline excellent as compared to a gun where the finish is gone, the wood's screwed up, maybe with a crack or something, to where, you know, it's in fair condition. The price difference is going to be great. It's you know, like 50% or something. And a lot of times I see people at gun shows and places buy guns without ever looking down to check the bore condition. Okay, because I seen a guy unwrap a World War I Gewehr 98. The gun looked really great on the outside, but when he checked the bore, there's no bore. It's rusted, rotted, pitted out. Okay. Now it comes into the point. Why do you collect? Is it just a casual interest? There are people who collect and buy these guns that'll never shoot them. Okay, I've actually repaired a few guns, fixed some broken springs and stuff in a Czech pistol for a guy, went out, test fired it, and that, and I said, you know, I test fired it, everything's working, I got, you know, this main spring and that fixed, and the gun functions fine. He goes, well, I'm never gonna shoot it. He buys it, puts it, you know, I cleaned it, oil it, he buys it, puts it away, and then eventually he sells it. There are people that collect these guns just for the monetary value, okay? A lot of the younger people I see on YouTube are buying these guns because they want to go shoot them. Okay, so you have different venues, different areas, which is hard to make a blanket statement or give advice for everybody, because there's different little splinter groups of people doing different things. Some people collect guns from a certain country. Some people collect guns like just from World War II. Okay, they want the guns dated in the 40s or the early 30s, whatever World War II was. Some people like World War I guns, and all that stuff's dated in the teens. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, but it's just, when I make a general video about collecting Milsurp, it's kind of hard to touch base or make a statement that covers everyone. Okay, but I'm trying. Thanks for your support and comments on my other video. And then, like I said, what I will do is make little videos discussing like reference books, price guides, cleaning, disassembling, what kind of basic tools you're going to need, and fluids and stuff to clean or restore or tune these up. And also I'll cover individual guns and like some weird myths or misconceptions and stuff, and the safety issues of firing these weapons, and you know, even then if there's interest going into how to reload for these and what you can do and how much it would save you. Alright, so that's my intro to this, or how not to get burned. You know, it comes down, know what you're doing, know what you want, have a goal. You know, are you doing this for money? Say you overpaid a little bit on a gun, but you really, really like it. Well, if you're young, you know, say I paid $100 too much for this. Well, fool with it, oil it up, clean it, put it in a gun safe for 20 years, and you probably make the 100 and some back. Okay, you know, never get discouraged, or get angry with yourself. Learn from your mistakes. You know, that's probably the best advice I can give you. So stay tuned.